"That internet money of yours will never amount to anything real," my dad said, clinking his beer bottle against my uncle's. The backyard erupted in laughter. "My name's Eli Granger. I'm 27, and for the past 6 years, I've been building blockchain solutions from my cramped one-bedroom apartment in Tulsa. Not that my family understood or tried to. Every reunion was the same script. Polite questions about when I'd get a real job, followed by crypto jokes that stopped being funny years ago. I smiled and nodded the way I always did. Let them laugh. The notification I'd received yesterday was still burning a hole in my pocket. The European firm's final acquisition offer, $27.5 million for my optimization protocol. 6 years of 18-hour days, ramen dinners, and learning from every failure had led to this moment. "You know, son," my dad continued, lowering his voice so only I could hear. "Derek says they're always hiring at the dealership. Good benefits, too." I took another sip of my beer and watched my brother-in-law, Derek, across the yard, showing off his new watch. Commissioned from selling luxury cars. He caught my eye and gave me that same sympathetic look he always did. While I was driving home that night, my phone buzzed. A text from my sister, Jessica. "Don't mind, Dad. He just worries about you." I tossed the phone onto the passenger seat without responding. What they didn't know wouldn't hurt them. Not yet, anyway. When I got home, I checked my laptop one more time. The wire transfer was pending. By Monday morning, I'd have more money than everyone at that barbecue combined. I closed the laptop and stared out the window. For the first time in years, I felt something close to peace. I taught myself to code when I was 14, hunched over a second-hand laptop my mom bought at a garage sale. I'd stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning, learning everything I could. My parents thought it was just a phase, like my brief obsession with astronomy or skateboarding. "He'll grow out of it," they'd say when relatives asked what I was doing locked in my room all day. But I didn't grow out of it. I graduated high school, got a partial scholarship to state college, and majored in computer science. Everyone expected me to follow the usual path. Internship, entry-level, coding job, slow climb up the corporate ladder. Instead, I dropped out in my junior year when I saw the potential in blockchain technology. My dad didn't speak to me for 3 months. My mom cried. Jessica tried to mediate, but eventually stopped defending my choices at family gatherings. "I just don't understand why you'd throw away a degree," my dad had said when he finally started talking to me again. "Your grandfather worked in the oil fields for 40 years so his kids could go to college." I tried explaining once, talked about decentralized finance, about cutting out middlemen, about the future of secure transactions. Their eyes glazed over within minutes. So I retreated to my apartment and focused on building. While friends got married, bought houses, and posted vacation photos, I lived on energy drinks and takeout, solving complex problems and creating efficiencies no one had thought of before. The first sign that things were changing came 8 months ago. I'd published a white paper on a new blockchain protocol, and 3 days later, my inbox was flooded with messages from venture capitalists. One of them, Allison from Vertex Capital, asked for a meeting. "Your optimization algorithm is groundbreaking," she said over video call. "Have you considered what this could be worth?" I hadn't. I was just solving a problem that interested me. 3 weeks after that call, I received my first acquisition offer, $3 million. I turned it down. 6 weeks later, $8 million. I turned that down, too. Jessica called around that time. "Dad's having some health issues," she said. "Nothing serious yet, but he might need surgery later this year. I asked if they needed money. She hesitated before saying they'd figure it out. When I hung up, I stared at the latest offer in my inbox, $15 million, and felt a strange hollowness. What was the point of solving problems if I couldn't solve the ones closest to home? 2 days before the family reunion, I sat across from 5 executives in a virtual meeting room. After 6 rounds of negotiations, they'd reached their final offer, $27.5 million, with a 2-year consulting contract that would pay an additional $180,000 annually. "We need your answer today, Mr. Granger," the CEO said. I asked for an hour, walked around my neighborhood, past families grilling in their yards, kids playing basketball in driveways, normal lives, visible lives, the kind my parents could understand and approve of. When I returned to my apartment, I signed the contract and closed my laptop. That should have been a moment of triumph. Instead, I felt a strange emptiness. 6 years of work culminating in more money than I'd ever dreamed of. And I had no one to share it with who would truly understand what I had accomplished. At the reunion, watching my family laugh at internet money, I realized something. They weren't mocking me because they didn't care. They were doing it because they couldn't see what I saw. They lived in a world where success looked like Derek, Commission Watch, or my cousin Kyle's management position. I thought about telling them, considered pulling out my phone and showing them the pending transfer. But as my dad passed me another beer and clapped me on the shoulder with that mixture of affection and disappointment, I decided against it. This wasn't about proving them wrong anymore. This was about something else entirely, something I was just beginning to understand. On the drive home, I pulled over at a scenic overlook above the city. The lights of Tulsa sprawled beneath me like a circuit board. I made a decision right there. I'd do things differently. No announcement, no revenge, no "I told you so." Instead, I opened my banking app and set up a new private account. Then I made a list of names. My parents, Jessica, her daughter Emma, my uncle Frank, who'd lost his job last year, even Derek. I knew exactly what I was going to do, and none of them would ever know it was me. A month after the acquisition, I met with a financial advisor in Oklahoma City, a discreet woman named Olivia, who specialized in sudden wealth management. "Most people in your position want to make a splash," she said, reviewing my plans. "Buy a mansion, a supercar, show everyone they've made it." "That's not me," I replied. "No," she smiled. "I can see that. We set up several anonymous charitable trusts and family assistance funds. I kept my apartment, my used Honda, and my regular routine. The only change was the knowledge that my family would never face financial hardship again. They just wouldn't know I was behind it." 3 weeks later, Jessica called in tears. "Emma needs braces, Dad needs surgery, and they just cut Derek's commission structure at work," she said. "I don't know what to do, Eli." "I might be able to help a little," I offered, already knowing I'd pay for everything. "Thanks," but she hesitated. "Dad doesn't want charity, especially from you. He thinks you need to focus on getting a stable job instead of your crypto thing." That stung more than I expected. "What did you tell him?" "I said I wouldn't ask you," she admitted. "I'm only calling because I'm desperate." After we hung up, I sat with that conversation for a long time. My own father would rather struggle than accept help from me because he thought I was failing. The irony was almost too much. The next day, Jessica called again, confused and excited. "You won't believe this. Some foundation called about a community grant for families with medical needs. They're covering Dad's entire surgery, That's amazing, I said, knowing the foundation had been created just yesterday with a single anonymous donor, me. And get this, Emma qualified for a full orthodontic scholarship through her school. They said someone endowed it specifically for kids in her grade. Sounds like your luck is turning round. Jessica paused. It's weird, right? All this happening at once. Sometimes good things just happen, I said. 2 days later, my phone lit up with a text from Derek. Dude, did you hear about the farm? My grandfather's farm had been in tax trouble for years. My dad and his siblings had been trying to save it, but they were always short on funds. What about it? I texted back. Someone paid off all the back taxes. Anonymous donation. Your dad's freaking out. I smiled as I typed. That's great news. When I attended the small family gathering to celebrate saving the farm, I watched my dad give a tearful toast about family legacy and miracles. Everyone was buzzing with theories about their mysterious benefactor. Maybe it was Kyle, my aunt, suggested. He's doing well at that management job. Kyle shook his head. Wish I could take credit. Could be one of those tech billionaires doing random acts of kindness, Derek offered. My dad looked at me across the table. Definitely not Eli's internet money, he laughed, but there was less bite to it this time. I raised my glass along with everyone else and said nothing. 3 months after the acquisition, I received a call from Allison at Vert.x Capital. They're integrating your protocol earlier than expected, she said. The results are better than projected. Your earnout bonus just tripled. Just like that, my net worth jumped again. The initial $27.5 million was now closer to $40 million. I thanked her and hung up, then sat staring at the wall of my unchanged apartment. That night, my mum called to invite me to dinner. It's been too long since you came over, she said. And your dad has something he wants to talk to you about. When I arrived at my childhood home, the atmosphere was strangely tense. My dad waited until after dinner to bring up what was on his mind. I've been thinking, he said, fidgeting with his napkin. You've been working on this crypto thing for years now. Maybe there's more to it than I thought. I sat down my coffee. What changed your mind? I've been reading up on it, he admitted, surprising me. After all these miracles happening to our family, I started wondering if maybe there are forces at work we don't understand. My mum nodded. Your father thinks technology might be one of those forces that maybe we've been too quick to dismiss what you do. I felt a lump forming in my throat. Is that right? I still don't understand it, my dad said. But I'd like to if you're willing to explain it again. For the next hour, I walked them through blockchain basics. My dad asked surprisingly thoughtful questions. My mum took notes. It was the most interest they'd ever shown in my work. As I was leaving, my dad walked me to my car. Son, I've been hard on you, he said quietly. I worried you were throwing your life away, but these past few months have made me think about what's really important. It's not what job you have or how much money you make. It's family. I nodded, unable to speak. Whatever happens with this crypto business, I want you to know I'm proud of you for sticking to what you believe in. That takes guts. As I drove home, I realized something unexpected had happened. In trying to help my family without showing off my success, I'd inadvertently given my dad something more valuable than money. I'd given him the chance to come to terms with who I was on his own. The next morning, I received another call from Jessica. Eli, something weird is going on, she said, her voice low. Derek thinks someone is helping our family out anonymously. Why would he think that? Too many coincidences. The medical fund, Emma's braces, the farm taxes. Now he just got offered a job at a new dealership with better pay out of nowhere. Someone's pulling strings. I kept my voice neutral. Maybe your luck really has changed. Derek thinks it might be you, she said bluntly. He says you've been acting different, calmer, like someone who doesn't have to worry anymore. That caught me off guard. Me, with what money? That's what I said. Jessica laughed. Unless your internet money finally paid off. I changed the subject, but after we hung up, I realized I'd underestimated Derek. He might sell cars for a living, but he knew how to read people. For the first time, I wondered if staying anonymous was the right approach after all 5 months after signing the acquisition deal. I met with Olivia again to assess my financial strategy. The anonymous approach is working well, she said. But there's a problem with sustainable giving. Your family is starting to notice the pattern. I nodded. My brother-in-law is suspicious. You have options, Olivia explained. Continue anonymously with more space between gifts. Create a formal family trust with stipulations about privacy, or simply tell them the truth. I didn't answer immediately. Each path had merits. What's holding you back from telling them? She asked gently. I'm not sure, I admitted. At first, I didn't want to rub it in their faces. Now, I think I'm afraid it might change everything. Money often does, she agreed. After careful consideration, I decided on a middle path. I would create a family trust, but reveal my role gradually, starting with the one person I trusted most to handle the information responsibly. The next day, I invited Jessica to meet me at a coffee shop downtown. You're scaring me, she said when she arrived. You never asked to meet like this. I slid a folder across the table. I need you to look at this. She opened it and frowned at the legal documents inside. What am I looking at? It's a trust fund for Emma's education, fully funded. Jessica's eyes widened as she flipped through the pages. This is millions of dollars. Eli, what did you do? Sell drugs? No, I laughed. Remember my blockchain project, the one everyone joked about? Understanding dawned on her face. You sold it. I nodded. 5 months ago for $27.5 million. Jessica's coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. Say that again. I explained everything. The acquisition, the consulting contract, the anonymous gifts. By the time I finished, Jessica was shaking her head in disbelief. So all this time, while Dad was offering to get you a real job, I was trying to figure out how to help everyone without making it about me. I said, You're unbelievable, she said, but she was smiling. Why tell me now? I need your help. I'm setting up a larger family trust, but I don't want to announce it like some grand gesture. I'd rather everyone understand what the money is for and where it came from before they know how much there is. Jessica reached across the table and squeezed my hand. You always were the quiet, complicated one. Over the next few weeks, Jessica helped me lay the groundwork. She casually mentioned articles about blockchain success stories to our parents. She asked Derek to explain cryptocurrency at dinner one night, giving me an opportunity to add insights that made my dad look at me differently. We arranged a family financial planning session under the pretense of discussing the farm's future. I brought in an advisor, not Olivia, but someone who could speak generally about trusts and estate planning. The pieces were falling into place. My family was slowly beginning to see cryptocurrency as legitimate, and me as someone who might actually know what he was talking about. The final phase of my plan came together when Jessica mentioned that Emma's middle school was hosting a career day. Would "You come speak about being a developer?" she asked, giving me a meaningful look. It was the perfect opportunity. Career day at Emma's school fell exactly 6 months after I'd signed the acquisition deal. Jessica had arranged for my parents to attend to support Emma. Derek came too, curious about what I might say. I stood before a classroom of 12-year-olds and their parents and began simply, "6 years ago, I dropped out of college to work on something nobody in my family understood. They thought I was making a mistake." I glanced at my parents. They worried about me. The students looked bored, but the adults were listening. I was developing a blockchain protocol, a way to make cryptocurrency transactions faster and more secure. Most days, I wasn't sure if it would work. I ate a lot of ramen. I missed family events to debug code. People made jokes about my internet money. A few kids snickered. I smiled. 6 months ago, I sold my company for $27.5 million. The room went completely silent. I saw my dad's jaw drop. My mum's hand flew to her mouth. Derek's eyes widened in shock. "But that's not the important part of the story," I continued. "The important part is that success doesn't always look the way people expect. Sometimes the person in the old Honda and the same clothes they have worn for years is building something revolutionary." I finished my presentation by announcing a technology grant for the school, funded by me, to ensure every student had access to a computer and coding classes if they wanted them. When I stepped down from the podium, Emma ran up and hugged me. "That was awesome, Uncle Eli." My parents approached slowly, as if in a daze. $27.5 million, my dad said quietly. "Son, is that true?" "Actually, it's closer to $42 million now, with the earn-out bonuses," I replied. My mum started crying. My dad looked like he might, too. "The farm taxes," he said. "Emma's braces, my surgery." I nodded. "That was all you." "I wanted to help," I said simply, without making a big deal about it. Derek stepped forward and extended his hand. I knew something was up. Didn't guess it was this. He shook his head, laughing. "Man, I've been offering you car dealership jobs." "They were good offers," I said, shaking his hand. "Just not my path." 2 weeks after career day, I helped my parents move into their new house. A modest but comfortable place closer to Jessica and Emma, with no stairs to challenge my dad's knee after his surgery. I'd bought it through the family trust with their full knowledge this time. "Still don't understand exactly what you invented," my dad said as we unpacked. "Boxes in his new garage. But I'm trying to learn." "That's all I ever wanted," I told him. He paused, a box of old fishing gear in his hands. "I'm sorry, I didn't see what you were building." "You couldn't have known." "No," he agreed. "But I could have trusted you more." Later that evening, the whole family gathered for dinner on the back patio. Derek was talking excitedly about the coding classes he'd signed up for. "Never too late to learn new skills," he said. Jessica had quit her stressful accounting job to start her own practice with seed funding from me. She was already helping other families navigate financial challenges. Emma was showing my mum how to buy her first Bitcoin on a smartphone app. As I watched them, I realized something had shifted fundamentally. The money had changed our circumstances, yes, but what had really transformed was something deeper. A newfound respect, not just for what I'd accomplished, but for different paths to success. I slipped away from the table for a moment and walked to the edge of the yard. The sun was setting over Tulsa, painting the sky in oranges and purples. My phone buzzed with an email from Allison. Another company wanted to discuss my consulting services at triple my current rate. I put the phone back in my pocket without replying. It could wait until tomorrow. Everything okay? My dad had followed me out. Just enjoying the moment, I said. He nodded, understanding in his eyes that hadn't been there before. Your grandfather would have been proud, you know, not of the money, of the perseverance. I learned that from you, I told him honestly. He put his arm around my shoulders, a gesture that would have felt awkward months ago, but now seemed natural. Come on back to the table, he said. Your mom wants to know if she should buy Ethereum next. I laughed and followed him back to the family I'd always had, but who could finally see me.